What's up, chat? No. Hold on. Let me watch the Witcher trailer because I haven't actually seen it. The old one that people are angry about. Witcher 4 trailer. Holy shit, it's 6 minutes long? What the fuck? I don't have time for this shit. Oh, hold on. Naked legs?
Ye grow from a devilishly curious child into a remarkable young lass.
Blah, blah, blah.
Grace,
oh,
wisdom,
boobs.
And kindness. Take the easy times what shape us, nay. 'Tis how we rise to face the hard times, what does that for us?
Sexo? Blah, blah, blah.
You've the spirit to overcome adversity.
I shall be the bringer of salvation.
God, what a shitty place to live.
A witcher? Witcher! Whose coin did ye take? Nay, nay, you can't. 'Tis tradition. Chosen she is, by the gods.
No!
No!
You chose her.
Her face is kind of bloated. She looks like she's been, like, drinking too much or something, which, honestly, is probably accurate for anybody living in Poland. I'm driving, thanks for the distraction. Make sure you also scroll your phone. Check Reddit while you're also watching the stream and driving. Blah, 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 blah. Yes, yes. Blah, 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 blah. Drink the potion. Honestly, this isn't much better than, like an 80s fantasy movie. Especially the last, like, 5 minutes in which she's getting whacked by things she can't see from outside the fog. I've complained a lot about how video games are worse in recent years, but even, like, video game CGI cutscenes are kind of worse, honestly. It might just be because I'm getting older, but... I don't feel the hype anymore.
She were to go to the woods. The chosen one. His tradition.
Oh no, no, no.
It's all we wanted. For her to go to the woods. To go to the gods.
Gods? There are no gods here. There are only monsters.
You see the new Steam machine? Have they announced the price? Because I don't know why, like, people are being like, if it's weaker than a PS5, I'll buy it if it's $200. And I'm like, I don't think it's gonna be $200, dumbass. I mean, I guess there's a chance that it's a good alternative to buying a pre-built PC, but... The last time I bought a cube-shaped gaming device, it didn't really turn out great for me, so... No price announced, but probably in the neighborhood of the Steam Deck. Isn't the Steam Deck anywhere between like $600 and $1,000 though? That seems a little expensive. It's $500 to $700. What is your guys' opinion of this body type? I call it the Murata body type. When I complain about people asking for the boobs to be bigger and I say the boobs are too big, this is what I'm talking about. If you make the boobs too big, then it interferes with this the body shape as a whole. I'm looking through One Punch Man's covers because I'm trying to figure out how to draw pinups. And like about 50% of One Punch Man covers are pinups of Fubuki, so seem fine to me. She's a solid 7, am I right, guys? Every woman must be impossibly beautiful, but also only be available to me. Pizza Hotline. I don't think the Dreamcast music is what I'm looking for. Witcher 3, Winter at Kaer Morhen, Ambience. Exactly what we need. Merry Christmas. We're not allowed to say Christmas anymore. Fox News said so. Christmas is under attack. If I don't say happy holidays, the Obama SWAT team is going to show up at my doorstep and headshot me. It's sad, but it's true. Liberals have mandated that every single American man has to celebrate Kwanzaa instead of Christmas. Happy Science Mass, yes. Like my fellow Reddit friends, I only celebrate the power of atheism and science. When is Japan? Probably around December. I definitely want to get there this year because it will help with the whole tax thing. It will make my tax filing more simple if I can keep all my expenses and like income for this year in America and then sort of like have like January be the cutoff date for taxes in Japan. That will make it a lot more simple. The reason why we need to learn the shape of the rib cage and the hip bones is for drawing women. Especially relatively thin women. Because if all you're doing is really like fat, obese Americans, you never really have to worry about the skeletal structure. It's really only when you're drawing women in which you have like situations where like you can really see the rib cage, like the line right here. And you have to think about like, okay, here's the rib cage. How the fuck were people able to identify the Witcher 3 music? The shit is nondescript. I wouldn't be able to identify this as Witcher 3 in a million years. It's like generic but still good cinematic orchestral music. Honestly, there's only a few video game soundtracks that I can immediately identify. And like half of them are made by Uematsu. If it's anything that's like supposed to be super hype epic video game soundtrack, like half the time I can't fucking tell what it is, I would say. Also, anything by Hans Zimmer I could never fucking identify. Hans Zimmer's stuff is just like, epic music, epic music, epic music! And it's like, okay. That's cool. A lot of orchestral music is far too ambient. There's no defining strong melodic component. I mean, it's good for video games, I guess. I can, even with the strong melodies, I can identify Elder Scrolls music because, you know, you end up listening to it like 5,000 times. What about this epic fantasy music? Which was removed, unfortunately, because of licensing reasons. I love how I can with some certainty tell this is Japanese. Can't you tell this is epic European fantasy music? As you can tell by all this English they're using. Look at this epic European fantasy. God, I love that bleating she-goat so much. For those of you who don't know what I'm memeing about, they decided to use a Bees soundtrack for the Dragon's Dogma, and because it was only a limited amount of time that they could use it for music licensing reasons, it got removed in later versions of the game. And then people are like, what the fuck is the problem using this weird-ass J-rock song track for this, you know, fantasy game? But then when it was removed, everybody started complaining. People ask me if I had a time machine, would I go back in time and kill Hitler? And I say I would go back in time and stop the development of the RE engine so Capcom wouldn't make all these disastrous decisions to have their open world games use the fucking RE engine and have them run like shit and then spend way too much development time on it. That's what I would do. I'd be like, no, Capcom, you're only allowed to use MT framework for the next 30 years. You're never allowed to move on from your old engine. Dark Arisen has such a great soundtrack. For everyone who is disappointed in Dragon's Dogma 2, don't worry. They'll have their Dark Arisen style expansion coming out any day now. It will complete the game as a whole by adding a really amazing endgame dungeon. Trust me. My dad works for Nintendo. Any day now, guys. Surely Capcom will not abandon the property because it didn't sell 1 million copies. What the fuck is Capcom doing at this point? I would tell Blizzard not to partner with Activision. I feel like Blizzard was doomed from the start, though. Whether they had partnered with Activision or not. Like, I can't really think of a timeline in which Blizzard doesn't turn to shit. Considering, like, everything else in Western game development also turned to shit. Like, I don't think you're gonna get the same run of video games that you were getting from Blizzard, like, back in the day, and have that carry over to modern game development under any circumstances. Like, I just don't think that's gonna happen. There was, like, some comic of some Sega fan in Japan who found a time machine, or if he found himself in a time loop, and he got to go back to the 90s, and every time he tried to save Sega from doing retarded decisions, they'd still fuck it up somehow. Like, it was the butterfly effect, but more depressing. And I think you can say that for multiple companies, not just Sega. Like, I think Square Enix was doomed, unless you can, like, just straight up change all their, you know, management. I think Blizzard was doomed. All the great devs left Blizzard a long time ago. It's not like you can stop retirement with a time machine. Yeah, that's sort of what happens. We have to appreciate Kojima while we still got him, because eventually all of the generation that made, you know, the good video games of the past will have retired, and we're just going to have to rely on whatever indies were being created by people who played those video games and are trying to recreate them vainly. I would go back and delete the fucking creation engine and make sure Elder Scrolls Online never happened. Didn't the creation engine get used by, like, basically every single game? When was the creation engine made? Let me actually look this up. November 2011. Based on the Gamebryo engine. So was Gamebryo that much different from the creation engine? I didn't even notice that. Was it used for Oblivion? Yeah, it was used for Oblivion, right? I don't know. I can't even tell the fucking difference between Oblivion and Skyrim in terms of the engine. I always thought it was just exactly the same. Because it has the same fucking problems. Warcraft Reforged is 100% Activision's fault? Yeah. That's probably true. Not for Starfield. I mean, Starfield was going to be shit no matter what engine they use, though. Just look at the art assets. The primary fun of any of the Bethesda, Elder Scrolls, and Fallout games was just sort of like exploring the world and like finding cool shit. So now they have like an opportunity to create a fucking space game, and they don't even have like aliens. It's just like multicultural DEI skin-colored people in space, and like Todd is fucking calling it NASA punk or some shit. Like there's zero chance of that being a fun game. There's just no situation in which StarCraft was going to be anything better than like a 7 out of 10 in any timeline, so I think there's really no point in complaining about that shit. Look at the fucking concept art of Starfield. It's shit. I mean, there's a lot of concept art where the concept art is really good and they're like, why did that become so shit in in-game models, but... Huh. 13 pieces of concept art. Oh boy. I don't know, some of this seems like it might have some potential. This is some kind of like semi-Asian themed castle complex with like fucking turrets and stuff. I don't know if they actually spent the time making the fucking unique assets and like actually building this and making it a unique encounter. It might have been cool instead of like the randomized shit. Also, every single concept artist is like, what should I do? Yes, I will put these birds, the flock of birds flying in the distance. Literally every single concept artist is like, yes, how will I complete my picture? I know, there will be a flock of white birds. Literally every single one. I'm surprised they don't even have this in the... Yeah. This is definitely what the one city in Starfield looks like, guys. It definitely doesn't look like 5 rooms in a hotel. It definitely is a sprawling, expansive cyberpunk city. I've seen the streams. I mean, this looks fine, I guess. Like, whatever. See, here's the fucking birds again. I told you, man. The concept artists, they can't fucking help themselves. No wonder video game companies are like, we can replace everyone with AI. Just, the AI is just gonna... Actually, I don't actually see a lot of AI artwork that puts in the fucking birds. It might be a little more difficult than I'm giving it credit for. This looks like shit. I'll give you that. These look like giant space dildos. This looks like something that if you put it vertical, it would be on, like, an e-girl's shelf. And you're like, oh, she's definitely using that dildo. This is just extremely blurry, nondescript space art. With this makes me feel nothing, just like Starfield made me feel nothing, so I guess that's about right. I'm pretty sure nothing like this appeared in Starfield, but whatever. This is pretty fucking nondescript either. What are these bongos? Is this supposed to be like, I don't know, like a spaceship forge or something? This makes me feel nothing. This is pretty generic. I mean, it's okay. I guess. If you told me that it was made in like 1974 by like the third most prominent Star Wars artist or whatever when they were making the New Hope, but I didn't get into the official art book because they had better artwork they wanted to put in the art book, I would be like, yeah, seems about right. This, I'm pretty sure this was not in the game. I don't think there was anything like this in Starfield. Yeah. Pretty grim. Well, now that we've mentioned Todd, I guess we gotta do the thing. If you compare this shit to Fallout 3 and Skyrim's art book, your head would spin, I promise you, chat. Yeah, the Fallout 3 art book is especially good. For one thing, I haven't played Starfield, but I'm pretty sure some of that artwork that we just saw didn't have any like actual location in game, whereas the Fallout 3 artwork is actually, you know, it's in game. I've spent a lot of time staring at the Fallout 3 environment art and being like, oh man, this looks so cool. My biggest issue with a lot of sci-fi concepts is how sterile they always are. That's why Star Wars was such a huge influence, not necessarily a good one, but like a revolutionary aspect on the industry, because like George Lucas, although he copied a lot of shit from stuff like Flash Gordon and shit, but he kind of did invent the whole like, instead of having it be like sterile spaceships and stuff, it's gonna be like a fucking bar. And it's going to be full of all of these, you know, weird-ass aliens and shit. Like, the gritty, textured sci-fi was basically invented by George Lucas, even though there was stuff that inspired him before that. It's a shock that Todd wanted to go back to, like, pre-Star Wars, but, you know. Star Wars wasn't really sci-fi, it's space opera. And in the end of the day, that's what we actually want. We don't really want sci-fi. The audience for sci-fi is extremely low. It's very dedicated, but it does not have the same audience. What people actually want isn't sci-fi. What they want is space opera. We want fantasy in a space setting. Yeah. Nobody, like... There are hard sci-fi nerds who are like, yes, I would definitely like to read this novel in which how the gravitational well that opens up this portal works that allows faster than light travel. Yes, this Philip K. Dick person really thought it out. Except that's not really fair to Philip K. Dick because he wasn't even that hard sci-fi. But there are people who really enjoy just like conceptualizing this shit. But like, sci-fi is a pretty limited fan base in the first place, but even among the sci-fi fan base, like I'd say 80% of the sci-fi fan base doesn't actually want hard sci-fi. They want space opera. It's actually kind of like this. It's, horseshoe. Kind of like this. It's a literal horseshoe. You on one side you have the pew pew, I shoot my magic wizard blast, or my my cool space blaster, and I get in my cool, you know, ship / I ride my dragon and go through my portal, and we don't have to worry about shit because I'm a space wizard, yay! And on the other hand, we're like, yes, we must explain why the king, what is his tax system, yes? Where does Blade Runner place on this? I don't know, I haven't watched Blade Runner. Peak of horseshoe would be Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk is more of a cultural thing that exists on all of these things. Cyberpunk is like everything is awful. It's not really more of a technology system. You can have like hard sci-fi cyberpunk and, you know, or space opera cyberpunk or low fantasy cyberpunk. It's more like a cultural thing. If you want to have cyberpunk, you have to have giant neon signs with Japanese corporate logos and like cyber geisha on the buildings, and then you have cyberpunk. That's about it. The closer you have to get to the lower end of things, the better the characters and situation have to be to make up for how mundane the world is. I mean, low fantasy is basically just one step away from like historical fiction, right? So you sure as hell better hope you have some sort of winning characters in there. I hate that Cyberpunk has become this weird neon fake retro shit with none of the edge that made it so cool. Cyberpunk is not about being awful, really. It's just that punk requires rebellion against something. To be fair, pretty much every story requires rebellion against something. Because if you don't have rebellion against something, then there's no story conflict. It's just that Cyberpunk has like a specific worldview in which corporations own everything and shit, so it's easy to find something to rebel against. But it's much more hard to name a story in which someone isn't rebelling against something. Like, how many stories do you know where it's like, my name is Dave, I work for my local company, and I'm super satisfied with my life, you know? What does Paladin Elf Woman rebel against when she gets captured by orcs? She rebels against the orcs, hoping that she will get dick correction, but it never comes. Instead, she gets reduced rations. It's a very hard life. Dave the desk jockey versus the forces of taxes. Depending on the size of the company, you don't have to do much rebelling because Republicans have been in power long enough that if like you're a billionaire company, then you already have like well-established systems for evading taxes, so... Why can't games let us be shades of grey or evil? Being a hero is lame when all the villains get cool shit looking stuff. I mean, there's plenty of Western games where you're just allowed to be evil. It's just that it's usually ridiculous kinds of evil, like, you know, you just have to choose the red colored choice and then you murder someone. You have to end up being a murder hobo. The real answer is because every time someone is allowed to make a choice, that means the programmers have to put in like 5 different outcomes, and then if you do that like 20 times in a game, it becomes way more work. So yeah, that's just a lot of work, that's why. Honestly, I'm so tired of most of the choices you can make in games being just like kind of meaningless that I'd rather they just focus on making a good story with where I don't get to make any choices. Kind of depressed about the absolute insanity going on in Europe at the moment. I mean, America isn't much better. We're literally one step away from becoming like a banana republic dictatorship. It's not the same insanity, depending on what European country you're talking about, but it's not much better. Japan is business as usual, at least, so I will be safe for a while. One step away, huh? Depending on how panicking you are and how entrenched Trump's voter base is, you might say that it's already in a dictatorship, but dictatorships rarely last longer than their owners, and Trump is going to die of old age relatively soon, so it's rare for BB to have positive outlook. I'm not making a positive outlook, I'm just, I'm a realist. If you're saying positive outlook and that I'm going to Japan, so it's fine. I don't know if it's fine. I'm just saying that my mother freaking out because she thinks that having this female prime minister is awful or whatever because she's like far right. I'm just like, bro, it's the exact same politics as usual. It's still the same fucking party. It's not that different. Wait until they put Trump on the golden throne for 10,000 years. Yeah, thankfully we're not in the sort of God Emperor stage of everything. The Epstein stuff we got right now is revealing a lot of his Mossad connections. Honestly, I was shocked that the only thing that Epstein had on Trump was like he was at like one of the victims' houses for several hours. I assumed that Trump had multiple occasions in which he, you know, I thought he was like a Epstein regular. I basically thought that, you know, not only did Epstein have, like, the dirty laundry on Trump, I thought that he had, like, Trump was just going to the local Epstein massage therapist on a weekly basis, like he was going to our local Blockbuster on the weekends in the 90s. That's a boomer reference, you wouldn't understand. We used to have to borrow our DVDs on the weekend. If you wanted to watch a VHS tape, you had to go to the local video store. The US honestly feels better than whatever the EU is trying to push on us, though I don't doubt the similar shit is being pushed in the US. We'll see if they can get it through. Part of the problem is, in the US, the type of Christians that want to use, like, anti-pedophile stuff to regulate porn and, like, push IDs on the internet and stuff. The same party is also like super hyper conspiracy people as well, so there's a lot of kind of like weird overlap that might make the whole thing difficult. Not that I, you know, want them to succeed, but feels bad when you go to Blockbuster to get a game, but all they have is available as Blast Course and Mischief Makers. Yeah, that was the Nintendo 64 experience. And I had to do that for several years until somehow I got a PS1 and I was like, holy shit, there's so many video games. Unfortunately, the problem with the PlayStation was then, if you borrowed anything from a Blockbuster, there was a high chance that, like, the CD was scratched to hell. Man, that shit scratched so easily. And kids would, like, fuck up the disc so bad. There was a pretty high chance that, like, you'd be playing a game and it was working fine, and then you would get to like whatever full motion video segment, and then like that wouldn't load, so like the rest of the game was playable, except that you wouldn't be able to go forward because you wouldn't be able to get past the cutscene, because it would be like jit 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 jit, and I had to do all sorts of shit like trying to clean discs and stuff. Yeah. People treated their CDs like shit, and that stuff wasn't coded like Blu-rays, so it would be scratched to hell. Norway is not a member of the EU. I just saw on Japanese news today that there was some Norwegian guy who got arrested for playing that Japanese eroge where you're supposed to be nice to an ex-slave girl and give her head pats and shit. And he's gonna like face years of prison or something for his wholesome lowly porn. I was like, goddamn, the Scandinavians are pretty cucked as well. Why is it so difficult for people to understand that fictional characters are not real? It's so bizarre that we treat somebody who has, like, if someone has a fictional waifu that they, you know, are like, happy birthday Miku, and buys a birthday cake for them, and treats their 2D waifu that doesn't come out of the PC like their actual waifu, society will treat that guy like a fucking psychopath loser. And yet, when the judicial system treats somebody for jacking off or doing mean things to the fictional 2D loli that can also not come out of the PC, nobody treats the judicial system like they're fucking psychopaths. Even though essentially it's the same thing, because both cannot recognize the difference between a fictional character and a real human being. Pretty bizarre if you ask me. The onslaught of digital repression being pushed here, it honestly goes beyond what's happening in the US. It's about control. I mean, that is what it comes down to, right? I'm just talking about the hypocrisy, but winning the argument does nothing because nobody cares if you win the argument or not. I think I listened to this music for approximately 150 hours. I hope VTubers die out sooner rather than later. I don't think they're going to die out anytime soon. If there's one thing that the recent developments of the internet has taught us, it's that men can be easily convinced to give way too much money to women. Even though men should know better that the women do not look like whatever image is being put on the screen, men will still give money to the women because their brain is just triggered by 1,000 years of evolution to see big booby woman must give her money, so... Prostitution is the world's oldest profession for a reason, guys. And I don't think VTubers are going to disappear anytime soon unless they're straight up outlawed. We had a famous court case about manga and underage characters that was 15 years ago, and the public discourse was mainly meh. Prosecuting this is really ridiculous. Mainly because it can be used as a vehicle towards more digital control. You can have women making online content without putting their tits as main event. Well, with VTubers, they don't have to put their tits as main event. They can have the digital avatar's tits as main event, and it will be even better boobs than if the woman was actually showing her boobs. VTubers are just gonna get better with tech, I guess, but I wouldn't assume it. That was the assumption I would have made about anything that was going on right now, like 10 years ago. But if there's anything the past 15 years have taught me or so, it's that tech doesn't necessarily get better with time. In fact, it might become proprietary to whatever company that's providing it and might actually, you know, degenerate and get worse. So I wouldn't assume that, you know, everything is going to get better with tech, even if theoretically it should. We can no longer make that assumption. We're actually in the JRPG phase in which we have to, like, look back at tech from, like, 2003 and be like, how did they fit all of that on a single cartridge? It's black magic. There is no way we could ever fit this video game in a download package less than 150 gigabytes. It's simply impossible. VTubers don't try to beg you for money, in my experience. Who does beg for money? Oh, I know. Non-profits. I won't have to listen to any more NPR, that's for sure, because I won't have a car and I'll be in Japan. What's up with people wanting to see VTubers' faces? So weird to me. You definitely do not want to see the VTuber's face. However, if you probably see my face, you'll either be disappointed because I'm too attractive, or you won't be disappointed at all because you were assuming that I was hot. I'm not that hot, but I'm not a, you know, 300-pound ham beast like I'm supposed to be. So from that aspect, it'll be probably pretty disappointing. If BB doesn't look like this, I'm sure that everybody in this stream will be horribly disappointed. We all know you look like that. I don't know if I'm even capable of getting that fat. I do have the Asian genes in me, so... Make your VTuber model look like that. I'm never gonna get a VTuber model. It's never gonna happen, guys. One of my favorite things is going through, like, the art section of Twitch and see how many people have VTuber models and see their viewers, and it's always like 10 viewers, 3 viewers. I'm like, yeah, that VTuber model is sure helping you out now, boys. Even if you're a skilled artist or something, if tits are there, they take priority. They always do. Which is why all women should have incredibly flat boobs. So as men we can look at them without being distracted.
Good afternoon.
What the fuck? Is Oblivion playing in the background? I guess this is just literally someone just walking through Oblivion right now. I can't remember the side quest in this town. Was there like a vampire or something? I don't think I ever completed this town. This one quest was kinda jank. I never played this Elder Scrolls. It kept me company during college. Everything about the game was jank. You're saying this quest is jank? But pretty much everything in Oblivion was jank. I've only played Oblivion and Skyrim. Oblivion is way more jankier than Skyrim, but Skyrim is still pretty janky, so... If only Oblivion has many big titty mods, true. Look at that horse movement. No desire to play Morrowind? I guess I could. Unfortunately, for time reasons, I shouldn't be playing any more Elder Scrolls games, because that's like 100 hours if I enjoy it. And if I don't enjoy it, then it's a waste of my money, so... Since Red Dead, every game without horse ball mechanics feels disappointing. If I can't spend my time jacking off my own horse, what even is the point of the game, right? Here's a video that is make you to feel. This would be called Ghibli Core on Twitter. Look at this idyllic Japanese countryside with Japanese women in it. Japan is a real place. It's just like my animes, guys. Japan is a really nice place when you're not dying from earthquakes and shit. The sky never has that much color. The guy's probably fiddling with, like, filters and stuff. I wonder if he just asked them to allow him to attach his camera to the front of the train or whatever the fuck. How else would he get this shot? It's been a long time since I've seen a Ghibli movie, to be honest. The summers in Japan sound rough. You can't see the fact that it's 40 degrees Celsius with 90% humidity in this video, though, so... It looks idyllic and nice. In reality, it's a, one step away from heat stroke. I'm gonna talk about how much I love Japan for approximately like 4 months until it hits like April or May, and then I'm gonna be like, holy fucking shit, I fucking hate this country, what the fuck? I can already feel it. Japan says bitch ass kuzu. You can like harvest the kuzu and drink it and stuff. There's like kuzu mochi and kuzu tea and stuff. I remember the 4 degrees Celsius days in Nara. Shit was nuts. Yeah. Why the fuck do the Chinese tourists want to come to this country? It's so fucking hot. How well can someone from the far north live in Japan? Well, Japan is like vertically situated, so you have to just live in Hokkaido or something. You can go to the far north of Japan as well, and then you can get this Japanese experience and not be like dying from heat, so... Think about the awesome sumo you can watch live. I prefer watching my sumo in replay format, to be honest. Love your Beatrice art. Have I drawn any actual Beatrice art? It's nice in the north. I was actually looking at options for cool areas in Japan, and they were listing some places that weren't in Hokkaido as well. There's a lot of places in Chiba that is actually like, because of the ocean waves and stuff like that, it's actually not that hot. Not much to hear about Hokkaido despite how big it is. Hokkaido has bears and cows and lots of space. Have you ever thought about submitting to a Comiket? I haven't thought about it because I don't live in Japan, and you'd have to be living in Japan to do it. Because that's like a physical thing. You have to be there, so... At some point I might do it, but I'm gonna go like the official publishing company route first, and if I fail at that, I might try doujins and stuff as well, but... Have you considered hiring a cute girl to pretend that she's you at the con, though? I'm not going to be publishing anything. I don't want to go to a con. Isn't Bare Hands Eye Reading Dude Taiwanese? I believe in you. I'd have to create like a Japanese internet presence. If I had been posting my shit in Japanese, I would be way ahead in terms of like being able to become a profitable doujin artist now. But that might be a negative if I want to go into the publishing industry, like official publishing industry, because I've drawn parody content of a lot of high-profile IPs up until now, so... I don't know what the policy is for like some of the major companies regarding that. I feel like it'll probably be okay if I'm changing my pen name when I'm coming to Japan. And I just pretend like I'm not BaalBuddy. I think that will go a ways, but I don't know. Like, I just drew a Dragon Ball artwork, and then like I'm gonna be taking my manga to Shueisha, and they're gonna be like, I'm gonna be like, yes, besides the quality of my manga, there is also a problem, is that I am a well-known internet artist, and I'll be changing my pen name, but everyone will know it's me. How do you feel about this porn I drew of Android 18 10 years ago, for example? And if they're like, you have to delete all your accounts, I'd be like, nah, fuck off. Then I'll just go to a different location. If pretending that I'm a separate person isn't enough for them, then I'm not gonna try and work for that place, because the publishing company doesn't take care of your ass. they're gonna cut your series if it's not selling, and then if you delete all your social media, then what are you left with? Then there's no fallback plan, so you don't want to do that. Delete all your accounts is them trying to control you? Yeah. So I don't know what happened to the people that were drawing shit on Pixiv that went professional mangaka. I know there was an author who was drawing like big boob office lady. I can't remember what her name was. And he had like some porn of her and he had to delete all of that. But I don't think he deleted his entire account. Was it Takagi-san? I can't remember. So it's not like if you draw porn, you're barred from the industry from life, or even if you draw other IP, then you're barred from the industry from life. I personally have doujins of the Black Lagoon author for like Galaxy Angel and stuff like that. So alright, I'm gonna have to actually look at reference for this. Both the Hellsing author and the Black Lagoon author were drawing porn of relatively famous IPs before they became successful publishing. Yeah. And Inazuma, the High School of the Dead guy, straight up is still releasing Pretty Cure doujins while he is working as a professional mangaka, so if your publishing company is like, we don't care, then you probably don't care. It doesn't matter, I'm sure, so... I thought the High School of the Dead guy died. It was only the writer who was the artist's brother, which is why High School of the Dead is on hiatus. But Triage X is still going. What do you think of the boobs in Triage X? I think the author should just draw porn, except he does draw porn. So my usual complaint doesn't apply. I don't know. Sato Shoji art always kind of makes me feel like I'm being blue-balled. It never seems enough. I don't know, it's a weird situation for me. It's never like exactly what I wanted in terms of like the sexo. Can I ask who you studied for fabric lines? I haven't studied anyone and I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. Fabric lines is the thing that I have to work on the most, actually. Do not ask me for advice with fabric lines. I cannot help you. I'm like about like 10% of where I need to be. I can talk about a lot of other things, but fabric is like one of my huge blind spots and I have to work on it. This shit looks great. The most basic thing that you have to think about is like if there's a circle or like a tube or something. The areas that are being stretched around the object, so like this part, you're not going to have any like lines there. Those are the stretch parts, and then the lines go toward it, like the stretch parts. So if you have like the booba, the lines go to this, and then this part is clean right here. But that's just like one part of folds. You also have to think about the weight of the fabric, which is how you get like lines like this. Because this is the fabric itself being pulled down by the gravity of the fabric. And then again, there's like a white part here where there's no fabric because it's flush on the shoulder or whatever. There's a whole like professional artist terminology about this, of the different types of folds. You should look up on a book on like drapery and folds and stuff like that, because I've studied it just a small amount and it's too complex. But the one unifying rule is you have to figure out what the fabric is being attached to. Which means what you have to do is you have to draw the body first. You draw the body first, and then you drape the fabric on it. If you want to actually understand the fabric and the folds. The people who can do that without drawing the body are people who are just like already capable of visualizing the body. So they're already doing that step in their mind, but you have to understand where the body is and then go from there. So if you can't visualize that, then you should probably draw the body first. As I've been trying to get better in the last like 2 or 3 months and stuff, and what I've really realized is like I don't really know shit, and I actually need to do a lot more steps than I've been doing, and because if I don't, I'm just fucking up. My mind palace is weak and unbuilt. I thought I was good, and then I was like, actually I'm not very good. Yeah. So now I didn't do as much rough drafts in the past, but now I make sure I do these lines to make sure I know what I'm doing. It's never enough. What makes fabric really difficult is that the type of fabric that is being used can change how the folds work. So like if it's silk and soft fabric, then that's going to have different types of folds, lines, than if it's like rough fabric. Because rough fabric is kind of, it doesn't stretch as much, it sticks out on its own. Silk is going to be flowing and draping on its own. It's just going to have different kind of lines. It's just really hard. It's like you have to do anatomy before you do any kind of fabric stuff. You aren't much of a denim man, are you, boss? You mean in real life or when I draw denim? Because I draw denim all the time. It's often my go-to thing. I've noticed all your works appear flat. My theory, after trying to correct it in my own work, is to be extremely intentional with every line and interweight, as everything applies the shape and properties of the other. Meh. I don't think my works are that flat. I like flat. Also, I don't think the manga that I did recently is flat. I think some of the illustration I do is more flat, but not necessarily my manga panels. Honestly, I think my artwork is at a level where the technical aspects don't really matter as much, and it's more like a preference level. And you kind of have to worry about what you're producing, whether people like it or not, than whether it's like technically proficient. Can you make her ass bigger? No. I cannot. Maybe she does have a bigger ass. Honestly, I'm not sure. It's kind of hard because they cover it up a little in the character model. What happens if I make the ass bigger? I fucking hate this chat. Holy shit. You people are all sexual perverts. I don't think it goes well with the hips. If I'm gonna make it exactly the same as the video game model, what's the point though, right? So... I was thinking about what consists of a heart-shaped ass. It would probably be like this large. There's a lot of women who actually have this level of size asses. And here, this would be the, whatever you call it. And here's the shoulders. Back dimples, I don't know what they're called. the heart shape. People talk about heart-shaped ass, and this is what they mean. It actually is a heart, and then it goes in, but then you don't draw this part. And then there's like a circular sized gap between this part and then the rib cage right here. And the hip bones, right? The tip of the hip bones go to the tip of the shoulders. So if I was to draw this size, this shape ass from the side, I guess we can make it slightly bigger. I don't think she has a very big ass though. I always thought she was kind of scrawny, honestly. The curvature is always hard for me to figure it out. Guess this is fine. What are we drawing? Patreon requests? Yeah, I've just been doodling Patreon stuff right now. I will be for a while because I'm too busy doing shit to prepare to go to Japan. Like, yesterday and today I've just been doing car stuff, like cleaning all of my car and making sure it's in a sellable situation. I haven't even posted my car in any of these private seller websites yet, but I'm gonna do that tonight. I don't know if you guys have sold cars, but some of the dealers really try and rip you off. So I should at least try and make an attempt to sell it to a private sales instead of going to a dealer. But I might have to sell at a dealer if I can't sell it before I go to Japan, which would be like a difference of up to like $2,000 or $3,000. So. Just sell it to the scrapyard with a scary dog. My Honda only has like 8,000 miles on it, dude. It's basically a new car. Considering people are selling their Hondas with like 100,000 plus miles on it for like $8,000, I should be able to get like 17,000 for my car. Do-do-do-do-do-do. If I had more viewers, I would ban anybody that was like, draw them doing this. It's the equivalent to being like, streamer, have you tried this build in your Dark Souls playthrough? It would just be an instant ban. Unfortunately, I don't have 10,000 live viewers, so I can't get away with banning everyone in chat. It's good your viewer base is small. No, it's not. It means I'm not making any money, dumbass. If I had 5,000 viewers, I wouldn't have to become a Japanese mangaka, but I can't survive on 46 simultaneous viewers for the rest of my life, so... What is, like, the minimum number of average simultaneous viewers that streamers get in which they don't have to have, like, a second job? Is it like about 1,000? I feel like it would have to be at least 1,000. Based on the way like Twitch is fucking with revenue recently. You are not built for 5,000 viewers? You're thinking I would get cancelled? When I tell someone to KYS? You need at least like 2,000? Yeah, I think you're right. Considering every dollar you make is... half of it is getting taken by Bezos. I don't think you're making enough money if you only have like 1,000. I've seen people do it with like 300. It needs donos. You need to be a female with like powerful simp army, probably. If you have a simp army and you're like, hey guys, this month is my birthday month. I really need your help. Or else I can't pay the rent. Everyone's like, oh god. Kaylee needs my money. What happened to all the Raid Shadow Legends sponsorship guys? You know, I was offered a Raid Shadow Legends sponsorship, just like literally every single person who's streaming that has more than 5 viewers. I did not do anything with it though, of course. Have you heard of the great game Raid Shadow Legends? I know you don't want to be a pro streamer, but you totally could. No, I couldn't. My viewership has only gone down since I started. I had a huge Twitch fan base who knew about me, so when I said I was gonna... not Twitch, Twitter and like Tumblr fan base who knew about me, so when I said I was gonna start Twitch streaming, on the first stream I had like 200 viewers. And then everyone saw me and they were like, this guy's voice sounds like a, you know, whiny cuck. Or whatever, and then they stopped viewing, and it's only gone down since, so it's stabilized at around 50 simultaneous viewers, but it's definitely not enough for me to be a professional streamer, that's for sure. I guess your multiple hiatus didn't help, I guess. Streaming is not a good way to be making money, honestly, especially considering you're attaching yourself to a platform like Twitch and Bezos's desire to make infinite amounts of money, so... Part of it is most people aren't interested in live art. I guess... that might be part of it? I don't know. Games are more popular since more people can relate to them. Should I just become a CSGO streamer, guys? Professional artist learns how to play Dust map. Horseshit drama channels get the most because it's the most lowest common denominator content. Guys, I think XQC was mean to me the other day. If I want to become a professional drama streamer, do I just have to be like start a feud with more popular people than me? Is that the secret? I've been calling out Pokimane every day, calling her a coward and to debate me, but she hasn't responded yet because she's a fucking coward, Pokimane. Debate me live right now and I will destroy your position with facts and logic. Just cry woke at every game? I mean, I already do that. But I wouldn't do that if every game wasn't woke. But unfortunately, like 80% of games are woke. Activate the right-wing grift. How do I do that? Should I try and compete with Hassan by attaching a special shock collar to my cat or something? God, I wish there was a way to shock my cat so that she would shut the fuck up about getting more food. She is so annoying. Also, she's not really my cat. My number one thing I'm looking forward to when going to Japan is not having to deal with this cat anymore. This cat has gotten so obnoxious in the last like year and a half or so as she's reached like senility and become like a cranky old bitch. Is Portal woke? It was women and the male characters are kind of dumb. Just because it was popular among women doesn't make something woke, but in 2025, it probably would have been woke. When it was released, it wasn't much woke. You should get a cat in Japan. I don't want to have to take care of shit anymore. I don't want to be responsible for somebody other than myself. I can barely take responsibility for my own needs. We're just gonna try and be a responsible adult for myself for a while. And then if that works out, maybe at some point we can consider taking care of other things. Flexology, thanks for the sub. I appreciate the support. Thanks for making her butt bigger. I mean, I was looking at the designed work of her, and I came to the conclusion that maybe her butt was bigger. It's kind of hard to tell. She is wearing tight pants, but I don't know. Hard to be a responsible adult when it's so prohibitively expensive nowadays? Yeah, well, pets aren't helping. If everything is expensive, you can't afford to be paying like $6,000 to take your pet to a veterinarian because it ate something stupid. I don't know. When I realized that owning a pet meant that I had to waste thousands of dollars to take care of it for doing its stupid shit, and at no point was it going to be less stupid, you know? I was kind of like, yeah, I'm good, I don't want any pets. I don't have the financial stability for this shit. At least if you have a toddler, at some point they're gonna become an adult, and if they decide to like stick their hand in the garbage disposal and cut off all their fingers or something, it's no longer their responsibility when they're like 35. But your pet is gonna behave like a retarded creature its entire life, depending on how stupid a pet you get. So, I don't know. I feel like that isn't for me. Are you trying to find any attractive office lady hag living next to you to drink sake in the evening with? No. We will not be doing that. Also, I'm not in Tokyo, so there's no office ladies in my area. It's gonna be empty as fuck. Tomboy farm girl. I'm not living in the farm area either. I'm just gonna be in Kansai. Kansai suburbs. Genki short-haired that drinks beer. Also, I'm not gonna be drinking. That's also a problem. It's okay, Ball. You'll be blessed with haughty female editor. I don't think so. Although there are a few. I've been watching YouTube videos of Young Jump. And they had some female editors. But ultimately, your editor's job isn't to be your lover. It's to be your dommy mommy and dominate you to get your thing out on time. Aren't you way too old for sex? I kind of am. I used to masturbate 10 times a week, but now I only masturbate like 6. It's over, guys. Mommy, I need motivation, uwu. It's more like, yeah, it's like mommy will be like, here's some motivation. If you don't make deadline every single week, we will cancel your series. And you will have no income. You will be literally fired. And you also will become unemployable, because if there's one thing in the publishing industry that they don't want, it's someone who can't meet deadline. Unless you write for Hunter x Hunter for some reason. That's if your books sell 1,000,000,000 billion copies. And it doesn't really matter whether your stuff is in a magazine or not. If Togashi publishes, you know, a new volume of Hunter x Hunter, everybody will buy it. That is not the case if BaalBuddy, under his new Japanese pen name, publishes something, so... Again, we all think about weekly schedules, but there are like more chill monthly schedules and stuff, which is what I'm aiming for. I'm gonna be sending shit to Weekly Jump, but not the magazine Weekly Jump, but Jump Plus, which is online, and a lot of the people who are posting shit there is like every other week instead of just this week. It's way more chill because even if you drop your deadline, it doesn't open a hole in the magazine, which is the biggest problem. because they have to have like so many pages for printing in the first place. So if you don't make deadline, it fucks with everybody's plans. But online, it doesn't really fuck with anything, so you're only fucking yourself over. World Trigger is supposed to be on a monthly schedule, but it's more often posted every 2 months. Again, if people buy the books when they come out, it doesn't really matter. If you have a dedicated fan base that is going to give the publishing company profits, it doesn't matter. It only matters when you're being slotted in as part of the magazine. Will you remember us when you get #1 in the rookie contest and get serialized and make it big? No, I will not. I'll put at the end of my one of my manga books, I'll post in the author's comment section, I'll be like, thanks for all my patrons and followers that financially supported me, that allowed me to get this far. And then you will read that and you'll be like, hey, he's talking about me. Except I didn't financially support him because I never subbed or donated. But, you know, I emotionally supported him. Did you know anyone who stood in lines at the bookstore for Harry Potter? No. But it was my generation. You'll never forget Constrictor? Sure. I forget everything. I remember there was a guy in my Japanese high school that kept on grabbing my cock, but I can't remember his name. Actually, I think I do. It was called, I think he was called like Adachi or something like that. Being blunt is great. Senile buddy. I really have bad memory. I've always had bad memory. You don't need to remember me. I can barely remember, like, my high school classmates, and there was only like 10 of them. If you make it big, nuke your Twitch account. This website is going to hell anyway. I mean, I nuked my Twitch account. The question would be, it's not really the Twitch account that's the problem, right? The problem is every account that I drew porn in. And I don't really want to nuke it because even if you make it big, right? I don't even, like, what does it count for making it big? Even if I get a series, I'm definitely not nuking anything because that shit doesn't mean shit. Like, your stuff gets canceled all the time. The manga industry is not a stable bastion of employment. Anyways, this is all so far ahead of me. I can't even, like, draw 1 page a day at my current speed, so I think I'm getting there, but I need to do, like, very serious training on getting a variety of things up. I don't mean my dick. My dick still goes up, but I need to get my speed up and my quality up. One page a day, bro, fuck that. It has to be more realistically, honestly. Even if you're doing, you have to do at least 30 pages a month, basically. The minimum is about 20 pages a month. But then that means you have to do the plot and, like, the editor stuff in 10 days. So even if, like, even if you're doing the minimum of like 20 pages a day, that means you have to be able to shit out 1 page a day in terms of like actually drawing it. So 1 page a day is the absolute bare minimum. But it's actually more like 2 or 3 pages a day. You should be able to do 3 or 4 pages a day, honestly, if you have assistance. Editor stuff, not your problem? No, you don't get it. If you try really hard to think up like the plot and like you send the storyboard to your editor, the editor is gonna be like, no, this isn't good enough. You have to fucking fix it. You don't understand, bro. You work so hard and then the editor can just be like, nah, I'm not feeling it. Try something else, and you're like, are you fucking kidding me? This back and forth is just like a common part of being in the industry. So you have to be able to like do, I don't know, 5 or 6 to 10 pages of storyboarding per day. And then you have to be able to draw like 4 pages a day. And obviously you have like assistants and stuff that makes that shit easier, but if you can't figure that out, then you have some problems. Alright guys, I'm going to end the stream here so I can actually start drawing and focus on it. You might have noticed I haven't made any progress, but I made all the progress I can make while speaking to people. Good night, guys.